got a shape, you want to fill it with type. How do you do that in Photoshop 221 or 2020, 2019, etc.? Well, I'm going to start from a very basic shape, a rectangle. Go with shape option and fill, black, and just quickly add that. Then go to the type tool or horizontal type tool. And then hover over that rectangle. You can see you get a little change of cursor. And click. Set the font. Well, set the size to 100. I like to make it a bit bigger than, I don't know why it's always set to 72 as the max. I always go for 300, 200, etc. And press return. However, it's not actually connected with the rectangle. You can see that. You can see you've obviously got two layers there. So I'm now just going to convert that. So I'm just going to quickly go to type and then convert to shape. Because at the moment it's not a shape. Now once you've done that, you can't change the type. So if you don't want lorem ipsum, etc., then you're going to obviously do all the various spell checks, etc. beforehand. But just go for convert to shape. And now you can see you've got a lot of points. And it's a pity that there's no feature for smoothing and maybe reducing some of the points down in Photoshop. Not particularly brilliant in Illustrator personally, but you can do it a little bit better than in Photoshop. However, once you've done that, they're not connected. So then you could obviously think, great, I can select both the shapes and I can go to layer and I can combine shapes. Well, that doesn't work because if you try those, maybe I'm wrong, but you can run through those, they don't work. Not in the way you think maybe it should work. But what you can do is you can select the rectangle, the black, and then just drag that above the type. Then select all of them. You can see the type still there. And then you can simply go to layer and combine shapes and subtract shape and over that. Now it is connected. Still not totally finished. What you can do, you can go to the direct selection tool and you can select everything. You can see all of the points there. And you'll notice then, if you go to the top along this control bar, there's a merge shape components. Slightly, doesn't particularly give much detail in terms of what it does, but it actually just puts the shape all into a single shape. It does take a few seconds to process, especially when it's typed. So just select it and it will just run for a bit. Another reason for making it slightly bigger font, because if you make it very small, it's going to take a long time. I've got an M1 machine, which you think would be quite fast, but it does take quite a while. So now it's all nicely converted. Well, also what you can do, of course, then, is you can go to Edit and Define Custom Shape. So you can just add it as a quick custom shape. So it's stored away as a preset for future use. But now you've got this shape, you can apply various effects, you can move it around, duplicate it, hold down the Alt or Option key, and create multiple copies, etc. Also, you can apply effects to it. So maybe you think, you know what, I want layer style, and maybe a drop shadow. Maybe not that much of a drop shadow, but certainly a drop shadow there. Maybe change the size, etc. Maybe add a bevel, maybe color overlay. Go for red, and you can see a variety of different designs can be created. Also, you can also apply effects, etc. And you can resize it and much more. Now you can do exactly the same with other shapes as well. So I've just moved that out of the way. Obviously I can go for maybe an ellipse. And I can do exactly the same. Instead of black, I'm going to go for red this time. Let's go for red. And I'm just going to fill it with some other type. So again, type tool, horizontal type tool, but instead of Myriad Pro, let's go for Sign Painter. Just again, hover over there and you can see you can fill it very quickly with that. It's not particularly brilliant with circles. And you can obviously tweak it, modify it, just resize particularly, maybe make that 106, 107, whatever. And you can squeeze it, stretch it, etc., just to fill it in a particular way that you're happy with. But again, you go and select it. It's not actually, you can see, connected with the ellipse still. So go to the type again, do exactly the same as before. Go to type and convert to shape. So you've got your shape design there. And of course, you can then manipulate it as well. Of course, you don't have to keep it like that. You can always rotate it. It doesn't have to be that. You can just rotate it like that. press return, and again do exactly the same as before. Make certain that red goes above. That's slightly odd, I know, but just, and then select both the shapes, then go to layer and then combine shapes and subtract shape and overlap, and you've got your design. And again, direct selection tool, make certain it's all selected, and then you've got that merge feature. So merge shape components. Again, maybe instantaneous, maybe takes a few seconds, that's all done. And again, what you can do, edit and define custom shape. Click OK. But you can also use, and I'm just going to move these ones, create slightly more interesting designs than that. So go for a rectangle tool again, and I'm going to go with black, exactly the same as before. But now with the type tool, I'm going to select type tool, and again hover over, and you've got that there, and you can fill it with that. But you can take advantage of the fact that it's not really connected at this point with the design. So again, go to the direct selection tool. If I go there, I can actually just move that around. You can see that you can, say you've got, obviously if you want like an image or something, you've got an image there in that sort of triangle design there, a car or something, you can move the text so it's not overlapping. You might want that, of course, overlapping, up to you. But if you don't want it overlapping, you can always reposition this and move it around. Of course, maybe if the design's like curved or something, what you can also do, you can go over here to the tools, you've got pen tool, but you've also got curvature pen tool. Now, curvature pen tool may be in a completely different position depending on your Photoshop, because I'm always modifying my Photoshop. You can edit the toolbar, so you can, it might be in a different place. So curvature tool, and then as you go over there, curvature tool, you can, or curvature pen tool, I should say, you can hover over there and it will just put a little plus, and you can click. Now, I'm not saying it's the easiest to control sometimes. Sometimes it suddenly just goes crazy. The text goes flying off, and you might have to just undo just to bring it back again. But it can have a tendency to just to suddenly go wild as it flies off. And you may need to resize things. But you can also move the points around. So you can just move that around. And again, if you've got an image or something, say there, and you want your type to flow around it, well, that's how you can do it. Very quick and easy. But also, once you've done this change, once you've got this type, you can do exactly the same as before. Now, make sure you've got the type all correctly spelled and all that sort of thing, because I know when I do it, quite often I look at it about 5 hours later, I think, oops, that isn't the way you spell Laurent or whatever. And so I'm just going to go for type and convert to shape. So it's now converted to shape. And again, you've got that lovely curve. So you've got that nice little gap in the way that you want it, hopefully. Because again, you can't change it. Once you've converted it to shape, you've lost that ability to manipulate it. Obviously, you can distort the design. You can go and apply various distortions. You've got options here, edit, transform path. You can warp it, distort it, and you can create all kinds of different designs. In fact, why not? Let's just go for transform and distort. And you can see you can distort that text and create some interesting designs like that, just stretch it off into the distance. And it's all just a shape. You can resize it, hold down the shift, you want to resize that and drag, and you've got your design there. And now, again, exactly the same issue as before. If you want to join the actual shape with that rectangle, now you can of course manipulate the rectangle as well before you do anything. So you can say, oh, you know what, I want a curved design. So you might at this point, oops, gone slightly over there. So maybe just resize that a bit. And now what you can do, you've got that and that. Of course, what you want to do is join them. Well, unfortunately, again, you still need to do the same thing as before. Go to the, we'll just go over here, probably easier. Just going to arrange it. So it just puts it to the top. And select both of them again. See, both are selected in the layer. And then you can go to layer and combine shapes and cross fingers. It does the subtract shape and overlap. And you've got your design there. And again, direct selection tool. So you can select the whole thing. All the points are selected. Go up to here to the merge shape components. And that might take a few seconds or not. Sometimes it can take a couple of minutes because I've actually been waiting around thinking, will it ever finish? But it has finished. And now you can, of course, go and do edit and define custom shape. and there. And of course what you can do, you can change the colour and all those kinds of things. Duplicate design. So you can hold down the Alt or Option key and create another one. And again, go over to the, and to colour it again, very simple. You can always colour it over here. Just go over to the layers, double click, and it just brings up the colours there. So you can just change the colour. Or you can go to a layer and add a layer start, etc. So you've got your design, which you can rotate, modify, twist, distort, transform, edit, and transform path, there it is, and warp, distort, and much, much, much more. Do that, just drag that across there. Well, that's how to fill a shape with some type. Of course, there's other ways. Now, I've been using shape. Now, you may think, you know what, that's not what I want. After all that, after thinking, well, maybe that's not what you want. And another way around this, and it's very quick, and I'm just going to quickly show you, 5 seconds. So just got that shape. You can turn that design into, of course, you can resize it. You can make it any size you want. So I'm just going to resize that. Press return, and I can flatten it. So I've got that design there. A bit rough, I agree. But I can edit and define that as a pattern. So edit as defined as a pattern. Then, of course, what I can do, if I do that, just get rid of that. Just go back to the shape. So I've got shape option there, fill, and then I can go to the patterns, and you can see you've got your pattern design. And you've got your shape filled with type again. But this is, now unfortunately, there is no, and I don't know why there isn't, there's no pixel option with pattern. Really has always baffled me with Photoshop. I mean, you've got, with shape, you can do gradients and you can do patterns. Pixels, you can't. Now, of course, quick workaround to do that would be always to just simply use maybe a selection, etc., and fill that selection. Just as good as anything. But it's just a pity that it's not a feature of the shape tool. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Thank you much.